Hi, welcome to my craft room, and welcome to the 2024 Stash Builder collaboration with me, Misty, Wandering Dreamer 555, Metal Scrappin' Chick, 907 Crafty Life, and Pretty Rich Girl 2007. You're welcome to join us if you want to be linked to in the section below of the videos. Just let me know in comments and you'll be added. Otherwise, just join us quietly on the side. That's where I started. Anyway, this month, January, we're doing thank you cards because, of course, everybody needs thank you cards, right? Let me change the focus and get started. Okay, this should let you see what I'm doing, I hope. And yes, some of you may be wondering what happened to the pretty sun background that I used to have. My feline landlady got in. She knocked over a glass of water, and the whole thing turned to just so much mud. So I have to remake it and seal it this time. Anyway, thank you cards are a big thing with me because gratitude is a meditation, and it's good for your mental health. It's good for your prosperity magic, and yet, as they say, gratitude without expressing it is a lot like wrapping up a beautiful present and not giving it to anyone. A thank you card lets you express it. If you're like me, it's a little harder to do these things face to face. Words just don't come that easily. So I try to send out lots of thank you cards so that I can write down what I'm thinking and get it to come out like I meant it to. This all started for me when I was doing a meditation in my first coven called A Year of Thanks. It was a meditation on gratitude, and we were to spend an entire year sending out at least one thank you card every week to somebody different who had done something, however insignificant, that was nice, something that helped us, something that made us happy. And I don't stick to once a week. That was kind of forced, but it got me started thinking about all the things that people do for me and just how lucky I am. And so I kept my setup of a few stamps and a few envelopes and a stack of cards. And whenever I think about how nice something was, I let the person know. Anyway, one of the big things I do with thank you cards, since nobody really hangs on to them, is I use old paper pads, the ones that I bought, this one in 2012, and used up all the really, really pretty ones, and now I've got the rest. Well, because nobody hangs on to them, you can use the less gorgeous papers, and they will still coordinate because they're from the same package. So, let's get started. I will take a few pieces of paper. This is actually one of the designs that got me to buy the pad. It's beautiful. It was so busy, I wasn't entirely sure what to do with it. So we're going to see if I can turn it into thank you cards. Now, since I will be making, is this A4? I don't know, quarter sheet cards. I want to cut this paper to the right size. That's 4 1/8. Oh, that's a shame. I was going to cut through that pretty typewriter. Oh well. By 5 7/8. It will be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 if you're in the United States, of course. There. Now, I've got 2 sheets here. I am going to cut them at an angle because that makes it a much more interesting looking card. And we'll get that out of the way. And I just realized I forgot my glue. Just a moment. Excuse the banging noise. It's a small dining room, and it's what I use. Okay, glue. Now, make sure we put it on the correct side, rather than making what my son used to call a trick card. Line the paper up. No, that. Change my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. And put down the glue. I had someone ask recently, this is just plain PVC glue like you get from the grocery store, put in a special fine tip bottle, which makes it ever so much more usable. When I had this kind of bottle, or worse, the bottle that came in, I used to end up with glue all over the place, and just a mess. So I had like 6 bottles of glue, because each time I needed glue I would try another one, and it was also too big a container. So I switched over to using very expensive craft glues. And then I saw this bottle and thought, aha, that's how I can get the fine tip and not spend all of my crafting money on glue. I used to use tape. And then I visited a friend to whom I had sent a card, and they had it on display. And it had fallen apart. It had wilted in the humidity, and all of the pieces were trying to fall off. So, it doesn't fit perfectly. That's easy. Line this up. And cut off the strays. Much better. Next card. For thank you cards, I also use my lighter weight, 240 gram GSM paper, because, as I say, most people don't hang on to the cards. So why would you give them the good stuff? You save that for things like birthday cards and wedding cards and baby cards that people might put in their scrapbook. But I imagine that most people just read the card when you send a thank you card and then maybe display it for a day or two, but then it goes in the trash. So my scraps might just as well go through their trash as mine, right? Okay. Now I think this is actually upside down, but I wanted to make one with roses, which I have an absolute nut for roses. I want those to be more prominent, at least on one of the cards. This little tail. It's kind of annoying, but I know me, and if I take it off to make it more convenient to use the bottle, I'll never find it again. So I don't. And let's see. Now, only 2 spares. We're going to need more cards than just 2, so the next... Oh, wait a minute. Here's some more paper. A little bit. I think that might work. I ran across this really intriguing idea that if you keep your scraps in the pad, you end up with something that tries to fall all over you. One of these days I'm going to try it. You use one of the pieces of paper to create a pocket at the back, and then you put all the other pieces in. It seems like a really great idea. But when I have crafting time, that's not what I end up using it for. At least not so far. Maybe this year. Anyway. I get to use that little typewriter, even if it's not the whole thing. Now, these are a little too long, so let me trim them up. 5 7/8. There we go. Now, make sure we're putting it on the right side. And we'll put this one on the inside. This one on the, let go, in the middle. And that one on the outside. What do we think? I think that'll work. I think that dark in the middle keeps it from being too overwhelming. Another reason to really love glue. I'm constantly missing where I meant to put it. Glue gives me a moment. Okay. There we go. 3 cards. Similar, not identical. Now, let me get my thank you stamps. Yeah, I hopefully will get more organized about this as I get into the habit of making more regular videos. I did warn you, right? I can think or I can talk. It doesn't seem to work to try to do both. Now, not sure what to do with all these thanks cards. I like the full phrase, thank you. Now, looking at this, trying to figure out if there's a way to just stamp on the card. And I think there's not. So I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go and get my paper. Okay, I'm back. I just had to walk over and get my scraps. Don't want to make this an endlessly long video though. Although I do want to be sure I don't make it too short. Those shorts really scared the bejesus out of me. Okay, we'll start here. And I think black is probably the right color for this. I never got very good with stamps until they invented the stamping platform. But I seem to be getting better at it. There you go. That worked. Clean it up a little bit. And do the next one. So what's your routine about thank you cards? Do you spend a lot of them? Do you send a lot of them? Do you think about it and don't get around to it? Or is it something you've just never done? I think your answer might have a lot to do with your generation. In my generation, we had the bread and butter letters, and thank you cards were part of that, a big part of that. Now, I think I'll use a new piece of paper because I have no idea whether these are lined up correctly. As you see, I have a rather large, 12 by 12 actually, Ziploc. And every time I cut a piece of paper, I put the scraps in a Ziploc. And the white ones stay right in my crafting area. The colored ones are often my storage, and I pull those out for specific purposes. That's not too bad. It's not terrific, but it's not too bad. So now, get this out of the way. And start cutting these down. Looking at this, I think I just don't quite get the two-part thank you stamp. It's an interesting font, though. I need to get better at it. Cut off that icky bit on the end. Getting lined up perfectly is a bit of a challenge. I think that might do it. And yeah, that'll do. First up, that one's a kind of an interesting looking one, so we'll give it the interesting font. I usually put them in the bottom right, but I really don't want to cover that typewriter or the roses, so I'm going to stick it in the middle. It's a little funky, but there you go. And personal telegram, thank you, right? That works. Have you ever had a telegram? I had one once in the late 70s. It's something that mostly, even then, I associated with old movies, so that was kind of an interesting thing. I forgot to cut this down, but I'll do that in a minute. There we go. 3 thank you cards. If I were going to go on and do more, I would do them from a different pad. There. 3 thank you cards. Stash refreshed. Now, next month, we will be doing a welcome baby card. I think most of us only need those one at a time, so we'll do just one. But my nephew is expecting his second daughter in March, so I want to get that done. It'll be interesting. It's the second daughter, so my classic card is used. So I have to come up with a new idea. And it's another little girl, so... Well, join me back here on the 3rd of February and see what I do. Have a great new year, everyone.